anybody's concert. You can drag me you don't have to drag me. I'll be there before you. But I love to go to hear the music. But I'm not into want to get into that, dress up,
No,
uh,
no, no, no. Yeah.
a groupie go. You know how we used to do it on the Big Island. All of those
Yeah.
musicians come and come and come and come and come and come, and you would be with them until 5 o'clock the next morning because you got to party to party to party to party to party to party to hotel room until you realize, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So that is what happens when people. Well, I think it's just human nature though, because you're curious. Sometimes good things happen. Sometimes, well, I don't want to say good or bad. You have experiences that'll teach you a lot about yourself. When
Hmm.
live a certain, well, you just choose to have an experience, and you may not, that might not be what you're going to do for the rest of your life, but it is what you are doing at this time, in present time,
And
and
it's shaping you into who you're gonna,
that's
you
right.
know, it's
It's
your into being.
it's going to leave a tiny little, yeah, it's going to impress. And if you get stuck in that space and you can't get beyond it, then you're not relishing, you're not taking full advantage of what you created for yourself. No one else did it to you. You had some actors there, but you, person, who
That's the truth.
yourself. This is your doing. You did. And when you start to say, yes, I did this to myself, I'm the one who created this incident. I'm the one who had this experience. When you take responsibility for that, when you're at cause in your life, you take on your own agency, then you can create a solution. You can create something different. But as long
But you
as
have to
somebody,
acknowledge it first.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
if it's always that person and you're pointing fingers and I don't know why my mom didn't give me $16,000 trillion when I was born, or whatever your idea is about what you should have had, or why this didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen, then you get stuck in that, and it impedes you from having the kind of life that you can create for yourself if you
Yeah,
just,
you
yeah, because you
creating bondages of upon yourself is self-inflicted adversities.
yeah, yeah, you
For
just
real.
stuck there,
Yeah.
self-implicit stuckedness, and you're there.
Yeah. Stuck. Yes.
And the hula, because every time, and I did study hula, I did study, oh God, the Kuma hula was like, you can't be even 1 second late. I go, oh my, but
Oh.
you have to be seated. You have to be seated at 5 o'clock, not getting out of your car. You have to be seated at 5 o'clock. And he was always telling me that. But anyway, because I'm terrible with time. I'm like, I'm going to be here. Whenever I get here, it's going to be totally the time. When I get here, that's the right time. He said, no, 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 no. When we say 5 o'clock, that's when and when you're not there, you have to go through all these changes and consequences with him. But the movement of your hands, and I was watching you on your hula last week and the week before when you did the presentation at the shopping center, or
Oh,
the,
in front of the shop. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
That's where I work, and we were celebrating 7 years
Oh,
open. And so she asked me to do something, and I was like, yeah, of course. I want these kids to come to hula.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Mom, for watching.
I really, really love it because you have to precisely put your toes and fingers in the right place all the
Yeah.
time, over and over again. That's what life is about. Now, if you're practicing and you've been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, you're going to get it. But, and when something happens that kind of shakes you off your ground, you don't get warped and not able to return to it. But if you haven't been practicing it, it's going to show up whenever it
Yes.
is that you realize. A
Yes.
hurricane comes,
Yes.
or when the electricity goes out, or when somebody tells you that they don't want to be with you anymore, and you go have Jimmy Fitness down, lay down in front of the racetrack. Then when you have those kinds of feelings, or when you tell somebody that and when someone tells you that they can't, they show you that they don't appreciate you for who you are, and you tolerate that. You allow
Mm.
a person to penetrate your essence. That is where women lose their power. Women lose their power because they want so much to be acknowledged by someone outside of themselves, and they haven't even acknowledged themselves. They haven't,
Exactly.
yeah, they haven't done it. So you can't get what you ain't giving to yourself. The world, whatever you put on in the morning, the world's gonna say. If you put green peppermint lipstick on, that's what. If you put on serenity, peacefulness, calm, if you put on a nasty face, if you have too many teeth, the world's going to see that. So you have to build your inner core, and that is what the hula does. The
Yeah.
hula
Yes.
forces you to heal every time you do a movement. I'm like, why can't we do our finger like this? Finger like this. It means the bird fell out. The bird fell out of the tree. Birds don't fall on the tree. They fly to the tree. So you have to go like that. I said, okay. But now going
Yes.
up with it, it's challenging because I came from California to Hawaii, and before that I lived in Louisiana. Now Louisiana has its own little idiosyncrasies, and California probably does too, but the Hawaiians have been able to keep, by practice and word of mouth, the hula, the kahunas there, and the teachers have managed, and it's perfected. You have to name your line from the first person on the planet to today. Who can do that? I was shocked. I said, wait a minute, how long are we going to have to sit here and listen to this person? That's a long time. You got to recite everybody in his whole line from the beginning of time.
Wow. See, that's amazing.
That's
amazing. Ancestry.
Island. I think it was Uncle Roberts or someplace. I can't even remember. It wasn't Uncle Roberts. It was down in that area. And I said, this is going to take like a long time. They said, yeah, it is.
Yes.
But
And the Hawaiian people, yeah, they share that through that's why when they say hula is life, hula is telling the story of my ancestors.
That's right.
Hula is telling the story of my amakua, my spirits, my guides, and everything, how they came to be. And so people, it's not just, they don't understand that it's not just, a lot of people don't understand that hula is much more than a dance and much more than an art. It is the way they share their stories and their travels and battles and conquer and sharing life of their of their village that their a hapua'a, where it came down from the mountain, flowed through the valley into the village where it fed the people. The lo'i and the sweet potatoes and taro banana trees and all those different kinds. It came from the source.
Yeah, I know.
That's what we're sharing.
That's what's missing. That's why when someone's telling me that the methamphetamines that are on the Big Island and in Honolulu too, I don't want to say all the islands, but just definitely those two places, because so many drugs have just taken the children. The drugs, children, before even the parents can start to teach them. And that's because sometimes the parents are into the drug line, and then sometimes the grandparents are into the drug line. So they're starting to forget. They're not remembering the only thing that can transfer them into their potency, into their greatness. They're not even accepting that they can be great anymore. And that's happening across the planet, but it is so sad. It's so hard when you have it happening to your own people. I mean, it's happening to any people. It's horrible. But when you're like really like right next to it, it's happening right here next to me. I'm experiencing that. And how can I get someone to understand how crucially important it is for them to know who they are when they're not like, no, I'm nothing.